Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our reporting webinar this morning. And good afternoon to people globally. So today we're going to talk about reporting. At Tracker, we do know how important reporting is to a recruiting company. Tracking KPIs, looking at what your recruiters are doing, and just the overall business, we want to make sure that you have reporting at your fingertips. So I'm going to cover a couple different things today. I'm going to show you a couple of reports that some of the new systems do include. They are pre-built. And then we will also go ahead and create a couple of reports. And then I'll show you some other built-in reports that you guys all have access to, as long as you have the data in here. Now, if you need any help or have any questions, feel free to reach out to client support, either using the built-in chat inside your system here, or you can email client support at tracker-rms.com if you have any questions. You're also free to schedule a reporting training if needed. So feel free to reach out to us and we'll get you all the necessary details and get you in touch with somebody to schedule a personalized meeting. Let's go ahead and get started here. So in some of our newer systems, we do in our report section here, if you go to all reports, you will see roughly about 20 reports listed. These are pre-built reports that some of you guys like to use, and you can take a look at any one of them as you need. So if you click on that blue arrow here, you will see the different reports, and then you can tweak them if needed. To edit them, you'll click on the edit report, and in this section here, you'll be able to add different fields, change timing, or we also have an option where you can clone a report. Cloning a report keeps your report the same, but it builds you a brand new report with the same fields and the same filters. Once you have that brand new report, you're then able to edit it as needed and save it as a brand new report. And keep in mind, the only ones that can change and save reports are the owner of the report. But if you share that report with anybody by clicking on Save and sharing it with either user groups or users, they will have access to that copy. They can then clone that report and create a new one off of that. I'm going to go ahead and create a new report so we can start looking at user activities. Now you have a couple of different ways that you can create a report, either by hovering over the report section and clicking Create New Report, or if you're inside of a new report, any report, you'll see a New Report button. If we go ahead and click on this, this will bring you to our report builder. We do guide you by using these purple arrows here, so keep in mind you can kind of follow those arrows to help you out. When it comes to reporting in Tracker, you can report on almost everything inside Tracker. It's super helpful. You can base reports on how you need, depending on the data that you have. To choose how you're going to create this report, you're going to take a look at your report views. This is going to give you a base of where your information is coming from. So at the high level on the right-hand side here, you'll see you can report on activities or companies or anything listed in this list here. When you click on it, it does expand to then give you further details onto what you can report on. Today, I'm going to take a quick look at our user activity section here, where this will give you a really great list and counts of what your users are up to. If I decide to choose that report view, I can click on this green arrow, and it's now going to give me an opportunity to decide on the left-hand side, would I like a table or a pie chart or a graph? I typically like to build the report in a table view and then change it to a graph if needed. On the right-hand side, you will see different report columns. When you click into it, it will expand, and these are the fields that you can include inside your report. On this particular report view called User Activities, I always want to add the name of the person that is doing the activity. I can click and drag, or I can just click on the actual title and it will add it to the report. So in this report view, I would like to add the person's name. And then when I go into values, I have tons of different options here that I can add to see what this person has been up to in Tracker. So if I would like to see how many emails somebody is sending in a certain period of time, I can click on emails, and that's going to add a count for me. If I want to see interviews, I can click on that. I can also see telephone calls. Maybe I want to see submittals and any other options in here. That is up to you. Now that I have the fields created, I would like to build some filters on what type of data I would like to see in a certain time frame. That's where our filters come in. So in the filter, I can click on the filter here and click into this section, and I am able to filter on any of the fields that you see in your report columns. They do not necessarily need to be in as a column for me to filter it. So for this particular report, most people like to filter on a date period. So if I click into this dropdown here, I'll find date. And now I have tons of different options when it comes to dates. Some of the really great things about Tracker is our date reporting, where it will function for you. And what I mean by that is it will change as the dates change. So since today is May 2nd, my system might not have a ton of information. So I might want to come into here and look at the different options and say either quarters or half years or months, weeks as well. And if I pick on last month and I hit preview, that means it's going to give me data from last month, which is April. So every time I select last month or I save this with last month, it will always change to last month as the month changes. If I select this month, it will always update to this month. In this particular report view, we want to just add some sum totals in here. So I make sure that it grand totals each person. So if I click onto this down arrow of the column, I can come down to the function feature, hit sum total and hit OK. And I do want to do that on each item here in order to sum total each column. And then here we'll sum total the submittals as well. And I'll hit OK. And it will refresh the screen. So it now gives me a grand total of all the users in my system, how many total emails they have for last month, total interviews, calls, and submittals. At the bottom, it's going to grand total for the total of emails or interviews or anything in my columns here. If I'm happy with this report, I can go ahead and hit save. I can then name the report. I can give it a quick description if needed. I can add it to any of the folders that I have pre-created in Tracker. I'm going to leave myself as an owner. I can add this as a favorite. And what that means is when I hover over the reporting tab in the back, there's a favorite section and it will show up there. It might be something that I would like to access regularly and quickly. I also have an option to add it to a dashboard. So if you guys have dashboards already set up in your system, you can click onto this. This would add this automatically to my recruiting dashboard. And I don't have to go back to the dashboard and manually add it. I can then also share it with others on my team by selecting either, or you can do a couple multiple options here by adding to the department, sharing it with teams, different user groups, or different users. Once I'm happy with that, I can go ahead and hit save, and this report has now been created. You'll see here, once it's been saved, the date period. And if I ever want to edit it, if I'm the owner, I can click on edit. I can come back in. I can add any other values maybe that I was missing or that I want to add that I'm more interested now. I can change the filters if I would like. Or as I said earlier, I can go ahead and hit clone on this report. And now that it's pre-built, I can change this date if I wanted or any other filters. And if I would like this to show me this month, which it might not have that much data because today is the 2nd, I can hit preview, and then I can go ahead and save it. And now I have a brand new report that I'll go ahead and change the name and say user activities this month. This is a really great feature to get you reporting on all the options that you need very quickly. It is nice to have these at a glance. So if I go ahead and hit save, as data starts to come into the system, this report will update and show me any counts for user activities this month. We also have another option for activities. If you would like to see it maybe in a bar graph, you can go ahead and create a new report, come into the activity section here, and you can break down your activities to just see something that was happening just on candidates or just on candidates that are on a short list here. Only ones that are just specifically activities, so any activities in Tracker. Let's take a quick look at the shortlist activities here. In this section, you're going to see a bit more report columns because it does give you a bit more because you are reporting off of the job. So in the activity section, I can expand this, and assigned to is going to be the person that completed the activity. I can also say the activity type. And then I can also put in a counter. So in here, I can say I want a counter to just give me a total count of the activity type. In the filter, I can now add the dates that I would like to look at, just like in the last report. I can go down to the date section, and now we can look at when the activity was due. And again, I'm going to pick this to say last month. Once I click on preview, it's going to give me some totals for how many different activities for each person. Now, the neat thing about this is I can then group it by person. So here in your label field where it says assigned to on the left, if I go ahead and group this and click on preview, it will group by each person and how many total activities they have had. If I wanted to make a bar graph just for each person, I can add into the filter here just to filter on Brittany by saying assigned to is equal to Brittany. Once I click on preview, it will then show here the activity types and the different counts. Now, if I would like to make this a bar graph, I can click on the columns and we can see here the different activities. If I go back to the table and I would like it separated by activity type, I can remove Brittany's name, hit preview, and then select a different bar graph or a pie chart and see how those activities are spread out for this time period. This is another one. I could go ahead and hit save by clicking on report properties and hitting save, naming the report, and sharing it with other users. Another great thing about this report is if I like it per person, I can go ahead and clone it and then change the person in the background for the assigned to and make multiple reports off of one. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a placement report to show you how you can see your dollar values coming in for your placement. So I'll go ahead and click on our new report. I'm going to look at my report view and see I have a whole placement section here. In here, this would allow me to pick what level of placements I would like to report on. Now, because I would like to look at values on that placement, we can just look at the standard placement section here. If I click onto this, again, you'll see that the arrow has moved to the left-hand side where I can decide what type of report this should be. On this particular report, I would like to keep it as a table, so I'm going to go ahead and add my columns now. In this section here, I am going to decide that I would like to add the company name for the placement. I would like to also add the job name. So inside the job section, I'll click on job name. And another thing that I find really helpful is to see the work type or job type. So if I click on work type, that will add to here. I would also like to add the candidate's name. So in the candidate section, I can add the candidate name. Now we do find there's different things that are important to different clients. So it is up to you what you put as your columns here to make this report, especially for your company. The next one I would like to add is the value of this placement. So here in the value section, I can add placement assignment value. In this particular instance, I would like to filter on all of my candidates that are on assignment or that have been placed direct. In order to do that, I'll click into my filter. I'm going to scroll to the placement section and filter on the placement status. Now, I did show you how to do dates, but on this particular one, you're going to have some different options in here. Equal to will only allow you to add one option. If I wanted to exclude one option, I could say not equal to. If I wanted to add a few options, so different placement statuses, I'm going to choose the option called in. This will allow me to pick multiple statuses. So in here, I'll select, and with this drop-down menu, I can say I want to see anybody that is on assignment. I may want to see anybody that's been placed direct. And if you have any other options, you may want to pick it from here, such as converted to perm or any of those options in your system. Please do keep in mind your system might be customized, so your terminology for on assignment might be slightly different and placed direct might be slightly different. Another option that you may want to do is have a filter for dates for your placement statuses. So maybe you would only like the people with a specific placement start date of a certain time. In this option, I'm going to go ahead and just see all of my people right now that are on assignment and placed direct. Once I come into here, I can see the company, the job name, the work type, candidate name, and the placement value. Now on something like this, I would like to group it to see what the dollar amount the companies are bringing in. So in this case, as long as my company name is a sort order of 1, I can go ahead and group it by that up on the label field here on the left-hand side. Click on preview, and it's going to show me by company my placement value totals. And you'll see this listed here. Now, this is also helpful to see that I'm missing some information. So on this particular one here, I can see that I don't have a value, which means somebody may have missed and accidentally not put in the placement value. And we do have an option for clickable report. So here, since this is highlighted, I could right-click this, open a new tab, go into this job itself, click into the shortlist, go into the placement record, and update my dates and fees. Now, because this does not have an end date, we can't give you an estimated value. So on this particular one, I'd like to change this and say my estimated end date, instead of it being unknown, is going to be June 30th. You'll now see that the placement value has populated. If I save and close this and go back to my report and hit preview, you'll see now that this has a total. This is to show you that our reports are amazing in being real time. Okay, so everything that you guys are doing is real time. Any updates that you make, you'll see those updates and you'll be able to fix anything that you need, or you'll be able to see what recruiters are doing, what your users are doing instantly. I'm going to go ahead and save this and call this placements by year. Oh, sorry, by company, and keep it this way. A couple of other options that you guys have is you can take this report and export it. You can export it to Excel, just as a standard Excel or a CSV text. And a couple of really neat features that we have here is Report to Excel and Power BI. For those of you that are super proficient in Power BI, you can grab this link here, create the link, copy this link, and follow these instructions on how to input it into Power BI. And then you can have that function in Power BI as you would like. These will update real time in Power BI, and it's up to you how you use that. You can also export it to Excel, create a link. If we copy this link, you can then input that into Excel following these instructions here. And you can then save that as an Excel workbook and send that on to people that are not in Tracker if you would like, or even if they are in Tracker, they can save this right on their desktop and open it up real time to see real-time data. The last couple of things I want to show you are some pre-built reports in Tracker. We do have a margin report for those of you that would like to see your margins on your timesheets. And we also have a commission report. I'm going to go ahead and start out with the margin report by clicking on margin report here and making some selections. This is going to show you your margins between your pay rates and bill rates, as well as subtracting any taxes that you guys might be adding to your placement records. So here, what I would like to do is I'm going to show this by all users, but you can filter it by user or department. You also can change the timesheet entry period. So here I can click onto this. And again, I'm going to pick last month. I then get to set the report conditions. I can do approve timesheets only or any of these other options here. And then I have the ability to sort the report differently depending on how I want to see it broken down. I'm going to go ahead and leave this by placement owner and click on load margin report. What this is going to do is this is going to show me all the time entries that we've had for our last month period. So here, this is broken down by placement owner. I can go ahead and see that this particular candidate worked on this project for this company. It shows me the department, the placement owner, the role that they played as the placement owner, as well as their percentage. This is going to show me that this particular candidate worked this month 138 hours with a bill rate of $65. When we multiply that, we get the $89.70. For the pay rate, we took 138 hours, multiplied it by $30, and you have your $4,140. We had a 10% burden, so our tax rate on this was 10%. So we multiplied that by the 138 hours and got 414. What we did for the gross profit is we took the 89.70, we subtracted the 41.40 and got our 48.30. We then did this with the tax rate here and broke that down. So this is your general margin here, your gross profit and your gross margin. And you'll see it's broken down as a grand total here for all of the candidates as Brittany as that placement owner. Now you can see the owner gross margin. So we're going to take 25% of that because that is what the percent value was here. And we broke down that 20% of that gross profit for here for Brittany for this one particular placement and the gross margin here for that particular placement. And then we give you some grand totals for all the placements where Brittany was the owner. As we scroll on down, we'll see our different owners broken down here. And then we get our margin report totals at the bottom. This report can be exported to Excel. You can also undock it for a larger view if needed and printed. Our next option here in reporting is our commission reports. I'm going to go ahead and select that from here. And again, we have our different options to be able to change the report scope. So I'm going to go ahead and include timesheets in this type of options here. You can separate it by person or do all users if needed. excuse me, I'm sorry, it is only separated by per person. I'm going to go ahead and pick Brittany, and then I'm going to change this report period to last month. I now have the option to pick different commission rates. Here we have a flat rate, so anything up to $10,000 would be 10%, up to $20,000 is 20, 30,000 is 30%. We have up to 5 flat rates that you can add. You can click on that green plus to add those here. Once you're happy with your options, go ahead and hit Load Commission Report, and this data will load on screen for you. I only have access to myself in this, so I do apologize for the confusion. Let me see if I can change that here. And we'll see here any types where I have my commission details. Here it would show me any jobs or totals here, and it would give me my grand total for my commission. I do get 30% because my qualifying share was 5,600, excuse me. You can set a threshold in the back end. So if for any reason your commissions only start at a certain number, you can say somebody has to hit X amount of dollars before this kicks in. We also have a banded amount here where if I click banded, this is where if you have a commission structure where it's a dollar amount, maybe up to $3,000 is a certain amount. And then if I have my next band of $3,001 to $6,000, I can come in and put the number on the in between of that. So the number from 3,001 to 6,000 would be 2,099. If my next band is going to be 6,001 to $10,000, I can come in and put 3,099. So if you do the math here, guys, of any of your numbers that are the in between, it doesn't matter if it's, as I stated, 3,001 to 6,000, or you would just put that top number here and then the numbers on the in between here. So if your bands are slightly different, where it's maybe 4,000, you could do 4,000 here, and then the number here is 4,001 to 6,000. You could do 1,999 and separate those different percentages. Here, now that I have that, I can load that commission report, and that would break it down slightly differently. You'll see my qualifying share is still the same amount, but my percentages are different. I get 10% of up to $3,000, and then anything over that 3,000, so this band here for my 20,000 would be here. Or sorry, 20% would be here for the 2651.50. And then I would give you a grand total here. I want everybody to keep in mind our reporting is always evolving, so please do reach out if you have any questions or you need any help with reporting. Something new that we've added that you might not have in your system are time to reports. So if it's important for you to see the time from when a job was created to the time when the first resume was sent or the first interview was scheduled, please reach out to us and we can get that added to your system. If you're missing any fields inside your reporting, when you go to create a report and you would like to have a field that is not listed, if I click into a job report here and I click into jobs and I'm not seeing something that I do see a field for in Tracker, please feel free to ask us. We will see if we can put in a ticket and add that. Many of our things can be, and many of our fields can be added to this. I do want to thank you guys for attending our webinar here.